In this lesson, let's use the same technique to build an insignia or badge for our character. So in the spirit of adding a little bit more detail, let's add a little badge that we can put on his shirt there. And we'll do it the same way. So yours can look different than mine. I'm just going to go ahead and bring in, let's say, a flower. Will give us a kind of a good starting point. So we've got the flower. We can change the inner radius. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that inner radius out so it's more like that. And I'm going to reduce the number of petals. So I'm going to maybe do like 7. It's kind of an off number, not an even number. So maybe make it 7. We can also change the outer radius, and I'll kind of pull this in, give more like a, I don't know, kind of a shield kind of a look, or badge kind of a look to it. We can also come in here and rotate it. So let's say I want to kind of rotate it up like that. And then I want to have like a hole in the middle. Now we don't need to do any sort of fancy spline mask to create a hole in this. All we need to do is have that spline in there. So let's go ahead and bring in another spline. And let's bring in an inside. Let's change the number of sides. And I'm just going to change it to 3. Okay, we can turn on rounding and then reduce the radius if we want something that's not completely sharp. So let's make the rounding kind of similar to the edges here. Okay, let's take the radius down a bit. So maybe something more like that. And then if you want to, you could leave it like that. It's kind of a play button, or you could rotate it to make it more kind of straight up and down. Something like that. Increase the radius. Now we're not going to be able to make this a hole unless we combine these together. So let's take both of these and make them editable. And then let's do connect objects and delete. So now we have a single spline that contains these 2 separate splines here. Now all we have to do is add the extrude. So come in here and add an extrude. Add this in. Now this smoothness is defined by the spline, so any of the corners like that, but the smoothness of these edges is defined by the caps in the extrude. So we'll go to the extrude, and remember, go to caps, and we can change that to a fillet cap. And then we just need to take this down a little bit. Okay, and then depending on the kind of bevel that you want, you can change that in here by softening up the edge, just adding steps there. We can also come in here on the object and add some thickness by changing the movement. Something like that. Let's take the extrude now, and I'm just going to scale it down a bit. And put it up into position. Still a bit large. So we'll take it down a little bit more. So this is, again, as I kind of mentioned, it's kind of fun to play around with the splines. It's really easy to create something cool and add some thickness to it. So I'd encourage you to do that. And if you need to do like a Boolean shape, then spline mask will enable you to do that. Or if you just need to have a combination of splines, then just make sure they're editable and then use connect objects and create a single spline, and then that anything that's, you know, on the inside there like that will become a hole. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is starting some epaulets on his shoulders, and we'll use splines again, but we'll use them in a slightly different way to do that. Just again, adding a little bit more detail. So let's do that next.